This is Launching Your Daughter podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Now, here is today's episode. Episode 43. Welcome, everybody. I first want to start today's episode with a big thank you to all of my listeners out there, whether this is your first episode or whether you're a subscriber of this podcast. I want to say thank you so much for the feedback that I have been getting from all of you regarding what episodes you have found very helpful, and some of the episodes you're actually wanting more information on, such as the anxiety and ways to manage it, cope with it, because you're seeing your daughter struggle with things. So don't worry, I've definitely got some things in the lineup of being able to go a little more in depth of how to help your daughter manage more of those symptoms. Today's episode is a little different. I had asked some moms of adult daughters some of the things that they learned as a mom with their daughters during those teen years, and then what kind of a relationship they have with their adult daughters now, and what they want to encourage other mothers to know during this developmental stage. And yes, it is a stage. All of you will get through it. You really, truly will. And sometimes I know it can feel really challenging and difficult to remember that this is a stage and that it's a transition time, that it will actually pass. And sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, will it? It seems like it's a forever. And no, it's really not. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. And some of the information you may find very, very easy to hear, and others maybe not so much. But no matter where you are and what you're going through, know that, again, this is a moment in time. And some of those tougher moments, they really truly do pass. So from one of the moms of a 23-year-old daughter, she said, first and foremost, moms need to stay connected to themselves and their own well-being, not only for their own sanity, but to model good self-care to their daughters. This is so important. I haven't done a ton of talk about self-care, but that is so vastly important for moms and for dads to be able to have those timeouts. I'm amazed by how often it's like, but I just got to do one more thing, and oh, they need this, they need that. And you're on E. If you don't have anything else to give, your tempers go up, your frustration tolerances go down. And to be able to role model to our future leaders, to our future, women, that it's okay to take that 15-minute break. Maybe it's take a walk, take a bubble bath, talk to a friend on the phone, to journal, to go exercise. Self-care is so vitally important for moms to stay connected to themselves, but no matter what, really role models to your daughters and to your sons, that in those future relationships, if their partner needs to take a small break, it's not that they're breaking up. It's not that they're being selfish. They're actually doing a really good job of self-care. This mom goes on to say, then I would tell moms to let go of the small stuff, which is almost everything, and let their daughters learn from their mistakes. No rescuing. A wise friend once told me that teenagers are like cats. If you sit still, they will come to you. I have found this to be true. So be calm, and find that centered place where your daughter can visit for comfort and support when she needs it. Listen more and talk less. Another mom whose daughter is 19 said, perhaps the reason why we're so close now is not that the teenage years were so easy and carefree. They were definitely challenging. But she said, I don't advocate for moms to be friends to their daughters. Not that they can't or shouldn't be friends, but your girls need moms, and that's very different. And I agree with her. She said, I advocate for calling a media-free time at some point in the day when you can really focus on listening to what your kids have to say, asking lots of questions and being curious about their point of view without judging. Like all humanity, I think our kids just crave being heard and understood and being accepted for exactly who they are. recognize that they were growing and learning and trying to figure out their world and accepting that. Every day is not going to be magical, and knowing that as moms, we need to take care of ourselves first, or we won't have the energy to take care of those we love. And that's not being selfish, but necessary and good. Again, I really agree with that. Oftentimes, I will have conversations with moms where they're like, but I just need to be their friend because they want to talk. It's like, no, as a parent, it's role modeling to them what healthy communication is, what healthy boundaries are, that limit setting. They have friends. Their peers are friends. They need the parent to be the adult in the relationship. They need to have a sense of they are safe and that they are being taken care of. When it becomes more to friend and your daughter is in her tween years or even as a teenager, if there's any kind of shift in that dynamic where it's like a peer-to-peer, a lot of times their anxiety level increases because they're not sure whether or not their parent is actually there to take care of them or they are there to take care of their parent. So there needs to be differentiation between being a parent and being a friend. It's different as, when your daughters are truly adults, that again shifts the relationship. They still need you there as a mom, but it does become a little more peer-to-peer in that sense, when your daughter is an adult and not in her teenage years or tween years. Another person wrote in, she said, her teenagers, when they were new to their monthly cycles, meaning their menstrual period or their menses, that she was there to really educate them and normalize to them how that cycle impacted their emotions and how it affected regulations of emotions. And so she really role modeled self-care around those issues. So she talked, she did exercise. She talked about having a healthier diet, maybe limiting caffeine and sugar. She also goes on to say really so much about it's just being patient and not reactive to all the newness that your teenage daughter is going through. She said role modeling comfort and understanding for self and others will keep the relationship on track through all those lovely little bumps during this time of life. And it really does impact that future relationship that you can have with your daughter as she continues to get older. Another mom of a daughter who's 22 said we went through some really rough times together that made their teen years, challenging. And here's what she would have to say to all you moms out there of tweens and teens. Don't shy away from those difficult conversations, even if emotions become heated. When you enter those tough spots in the relationship, you are showing your daughter you care, and you are showing her that the love the two of you share can withstand even the toughest encounters. There are times, she said, I was terrified that my daughter was eternally wounded and that I was just making matters worse, and that we would never have a good relationship again. But I was so wrong. She said now that her daughter is 22, they are closer than she could have ever wished for. She said honesty, firm but fair boundaries, listening when you, mom, are able, and constantly saying, I still love you no matter what. That can really impact the relationship you have with your daughter. Get so much of this information. It's like, oh, I love it that these are the lessons these moms learned during those times and really reminding themselves that it's like, yeah, this is why being a parent can be very difficult during this stage, this development, is that you are going to be so-called the mean person in that sense when you're holding those boundaries and you're sticking to it and you're giving her feedback of here's some possible risk if you make this decision to go to this party. Here are my concerns, or here's the things that could possibly happen. It's not that you're saying she's a bad daughter, she's a bad kid, but really trying to help her understand because, again, she doesn't have the full frontal part of her brain yet. And so they typically go for more risky things because they don't think about the potential risk. And that's where the parenting piece can really help them understand, even if they roll their eyes at you, right? You're educating them on risk that may help their future or then other risk that may be very detrimental to their future. Another person wrote in and she said, listen and respond, not react. If you start to react, take a breather. Tell them a few tidbits about your teen years, but don't dominate the discussion with your anecdotes. Basically, be a good therapist, but love them like crazy. And I'm going to expand upon that a little more. So as an adult, right, everybody's gone through their teen years, and there's different experiences that we've had as an adult during those times. And it really is different what teenagers are going through now than what we went through as teenagers. I have so many girls that over the years have like, oh my gosh, mom has told me about this and it's just not the same. They don't want to hear that. They want to know that you hear them. So again, being able to slow the conversation down, listen to them. It doesn't mean you're giving in by listening to them. It doesn't mean you're going to change the outcome of your decision by pausing and listening to them. It's reflecting what you're hearing them say, why they think the feedback you're giving them is maybe off track or too harsh or too this. It's being able to role model, okay, so I hear that you're saying that having that curfew of midnight, you don't agree with that. And I can understand that's really frustrating to you because you know of some friends who are able to stay out till 1 o'clock. And maybe it's a state law that, nope, they have to be home by a certain, time frame. And so you're also using the legal issues that go with this, whatever it may be. When we can pause, slow down, and respond without reacting, that's when you really begin to create, I want to say, a trusting, strong foundation for that future relationship with her too. So if you've had a bad day, if you're having a bad moment, it's totally okay for you to say, hey, I want to have this conversation with you. I didn't sleep well last night, or I've really struggled with some things at the office today. I need to have about maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes to really just kind of decompress a little bit and then come back and have more of a dialogue with you because I want us to be able to work through this. Again, there's role modeling self-care. There's role modeling being accountable for your actions in that moment, saying, I'm not here to minimize what you're going through. I'm not here to dismiss what you and I need to talk about. But I know that I am unable to do that in a very healthy and assertive way without taking some time for myself. Another mom has talked about, and it's been on really some of my previous episodes with some of the dietitians, really role modeling healthy eating habits versus putting yourself down or talking about how you are overweight or you're fat or you're ugly, whatever it may be. When we women talk about that, young girls hear that, and they really are very critical of their bodies and that stage that they're in. For your daughter who may be in middle school, it's really sharing with her that her body is going to change at various rates. So I remember some friends giving me feedback years ago about, we were looking back at pictures and it's like, wow, your ears are really big, but your head was really small. That's part of it. As a middle school girl, your teeth are going to get bigger, your ears may get bigger, your hands may be big, your feet may be big, and then the rest of your body seems a little out of proportion. That's normal development. Our bodies and different features of our bodies change at different rates. So being able to educate your daughter on that, normalize that for her, can really be helpful. But it's also role modeling to her about eating healthy, not about dieting, but eating healthy. It's also having conversations with her about the pressures maybe you faced when you were growing up or that you faced just as a woman, and how your daughter is going to face different issues regarding body image, the negative self-talk, or maybe receiving negative comments from others, how she can manage that. It's really for us to show the girls that it's about embracing our differences as a woman. It's about being healthy versus trying to look like someone else, and how we can all come in different shapes and sizes. Another thing that some feedback that I've gotten from folks is really being able to discuss and share with your daughter ways that she can manage those strong emotions that come with being a teenager. How it's okay for her to ask for a break when she's feeling angry and she really wants to lash out, or she feels overwhelmed, or she just needs some time to decompress when she gets home from school before she shares with you about her day. that even as adults, we can have good moments and not so good moments in managing our emotions versus taking them out on others. And that when we take responsibility for our actions, it goes a long way in healing those that relationship and those little bumps in the road. So again, if you've had a bad day, Mom, please remember it's okay to just go, that didn't work out so well. Let me go back and do a little bit of a repair work with her and show her like, crud, my humanness really came out. That was not okay that I was yelling at you because you didn't pick up your jacket that you threw on the floor. And I just needed to take a breather. And so I'm coming back and saying there's a different way I could have handled that. That's showing her that you're also human, that it's normal to mess up ever so often. It really, truly is. This is a big one that I want to share with all you moms out there. Instead of telling your daughter that she's smart, even though she truly is, and she's intelligent, smart, all of that lovely, lovely academic stuff, right? Really reflect to her strengths. Young girls and teens seem to forget that they are what they are capable of, and that they're really in a learning phase, right? If we have a mindset of growth, we're constantly learning, we're constantly changing, we're constantly gathering new information, listening to other people's perspectives of things. We're growing, we're learning, we're changing. They're learning so many different things in school, truly academically, and also how to manage peer relationships better. So reflect to her how maybe resourceful she is if she's struggling with a certain subject and she asks for help from a friend or a teacher, or how that she's being proactive when she's asking for help versus staying stuck or letting procrastination take over. How helpful she is in serving others, and that she is able to say no when she needs to take care of herself. How when she has a bad day, she can take time to relax or calm down and share her experiences and feelings from the events without taking it out on others. All of those are strengths. Those aren't things that, she's not going to hear that like from her friends, like, man, so-and-so, I think it was so cool that you were able to say no to doing FaceTime with me the other day and that you were able to take a break for a while. Her peers aren't going to necessarily say that. So for you to be able to reflect that to her, even again, if she rolls her eyes at you, like, whatever, Mom, being able to reflect that to her can be so helpful that you see more than one aspect of her. And this is really a message to all of moms. Remember, being a mom or a parent is truly not about perfection. It's about knowing yourself, your values, your limitations, that making mistakes is normal, and role modeling healthy communication, limit setting, and then going back sometimes and apologizing when you make those mistakes. That's parenting. That's you being human. Life can be so messy at times. Your daughter is going through so many changes, and she's going to test those limits with you. She's going to know those, trigger spots. She's going to know those areas that really get underneath your skin. So as she's going through changes, it's just remembering it's like, okay, I'm doing the best that I can. And she's wanting to be an adult. She's going to assert her autonomy skills at different times. So for you, Mom, remember, it's truly okay for you to also get some support, whether it's from other family members or friends, or if you need to go get some mental health support, that's totally okay. None of that makes you weak. It does make you human. Parents don't come with all the answers, and just as you are reflecting your daughter's strengths, remember, you are asking for support. You asking for support is also a strength too. Thank you again for listening today. And I invite you to sign up for my newsletter at launchingyourdaughter.com for tips and parenting support and some free videos that I have upcoming for women and for parents. Overall, thank you for being the mom that you are and all your imperfections, and showing that to your daughter. Being human, you're going to have good days, bad days, and everything in between. Thank you. Thank you for listening to Launching Your Daughter with Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist. For more information or to stay up to date, go to launchingyourdaughter.com. You can sign up for my email list or join my Facebook group. Thank you.